Hi everyone and welcome back to National League Lowdown with me, Dan. As you can see, I'm joined by Craig, as always. How are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, very good, mate. Pleased with the reviews we've got from the last one we've done with KCBT. It's gone really, really well online, which obviously we're delighted about, and he was an excellent guest. And today, obviously, we're being joined by Brett, a Boreham Wood fan who are absolutely flying at the moment, and maybe alongside Scunthorpe, everyone's surprise package of the season so far. So interested to hear his views on everything Boreham Wood in the National League so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, the comments and the views and everything we've had on the KCPT interview in particular was incredible. So thank you everyone who's watched and liked and subscribed off the back of that. We appreciate every single one of you. Like Craig says, we're joined by Brett. How are you, mate? You okay?
Very well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
More than welcome, mate. Obviously, Boreham Wood fan. You're absolutely flying, like Craig said, at the start of the season. I said before we went live about how impressed I was with you when you came up to Carlisle. Talk us through it, mate. Obviously, incredible start in the playoff positions. Can you sustain it? What's the target?
Well, I hope we can. I'd say at the start of the season, I'd have been happy with staying up, or maybe mid-table. But no, it's been excellent. It's been really. I mean, I think we've. We're only 8 games in, or 7 games in, should I say, as far as we're concerned. So there's a long way to go before we start celebrating anything. But no, it's been very positive. I really couldn't really have asked for more, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's obviously been better than anyone could have expected. So the first question that I normally ask people, if you maybe kind of doing better than you thought, is you said there about when we came up, we were just gonna wanted to stay up, maybe mid-table. Has that kind of tailored your expectations, or are you still a bit apprehensive because obviously it's still early days?
Well, I think a team like ours, the first goal is always to get your 52 or whatever points just to try and stay in the division to make sure, obviously, the earlier you do that, the better, really. So that's
Yeah.
got to be the first aim because I think maybe 2 years ago we got relegated. I don't think we expected to, and even I don't think anyone knew it was going to happen until right at the end of the season. So I think that little bit of complacency stepped in then. We can't do that now. I think wherever we are in the league, we've just got to get to that magical 52 or so points and then sort of work from there, really.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, you build blocks, don't you? Because the sooner you get to a certain percentage of that. So once you get to, let's say, 26 points, 25 points, around that area, you're already halfway there. So if you could do that
Absolutely.
early on, that is a massive milestone in itself, isn't it?
Yes, and yes, exactly. And we're not that far from there at the moment. So we've just got to keep up the form. I think we'll do
Yeah,
well. I mean, I'm hopeful that the season's going to be successful, but as I say, it's early days.
yeah.
There's
I
a lot of
mean,
good teams around that haven't quite got going yet. So yeah, we should be
yeah,
good.
that's true. I was just going to come on to that actually. Obviously, is there any different from when you were last in the National League a couple of years ago? Is there any difference this time round since you've come into the league? Is the standard higher? Is there better teams, or is it still early days so you can't really tell?
I think it's still early days, but the standard's always high at this level. You can't make any mistakes, at the back. If you sort of make a mistake in the National League South, you can get away with it. If you make one at the back in this league, you get punished for it. So you've just got to. I mean, the standard's incredible. I think it gets better every year, to be honest, and it has done throughout our 10 years or so at this level. Obviously, minus 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, I said obviously it's a bit different with Carlisle, but we were in this league 20 years ago, and obviously
That's
20
right.
years is a long time in football. So the one thing I noticed was that it's just totally different levels now to anything that it ever was, and I know that's a longer time, obviously different for you with it just being a year. But any particular players for Boreham Wood we should be looking out for? Obviously, Luke Norris has hit the ground running this season. Any other players that we should be looking out for?
Yeah, I mean, he has hit the ground running, but he's not. But he hasn't been in the team the last sort of couple of games. So he scored sort of 4 goals early on in 2 games. But yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't say anyone in particular to keep an eye on. I think that sort of we're a team. I think there's a lot of good players there all over the pitch. I think Abdul Malik has probably been one of my favourites this season. Sort of wide player, sort of little fella who just you know who dribbles sort of with the ball, like sort of no one I've ever seen at this level, to be honest with you. So I think he's sort of worth the admission alone. And I think if we look at other players we've signed, obviously we spoke about sort of Luke Norris. We signed sort of Zach Brunt from Barnet. He got Barnet promoted last year and a couple of good years there. And sort of Tom White from sort of Morecambe. I think sort of these have been sort of three really good signings that have come pretty much at the end of the transfer window, as it were. Was come pre-season. They've added that real quality to our squad.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
there really seems to be a bit of a depth to your squad. We've spoke about Luke Norris when we spoke about him on our previous pod, that you guys were 3-0 up against Morecambe before he even came on and touched the ball, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right.
So if a player's performance does slightly dip or whatever, it does feel like you've got options to replace them. But the biggest thing I noticed when we played you, Braintree Town, third game of the season, is the game management, the togetherness of the team. Everyone seemed to know exactly what they were doing, whatever the situation was. We scored late on in the first half. Second half, you went straight back to your game plan, dominated the game, scored again. Then as soon as we had a man sent off, it was like, right, Braintree not getting out there half now. Everyone was all together, and I know it was 11 against 10, but it was probably the most controlled performance I'd ever seen. All the Braintree fans were getting really frustrated, but I was like, it was actually just extremely good play from Boreham Wood. They were pressing the goalkeeper, so he was just having to kind of clip it into positions, and then you were on the first balls, the second balls, and you dominated us really from start to finish. Which, I'll be honest with you, when I saw that we were playing you, I was like, this could be our first chance we're going to pick up some away points for the season, because we're notoriously bad away. Dan doesn't need to know that because he's already seen his team beat us 5-0 away.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But yeah, we thought that could be one, and then afterwards I was like, hang on a minute, that they're not going to be a team for me that just sit above the relegation zone. They're going to be a team that's, again, I probably said maybe you'll miss out on the playoffs. But you'll be around that 10th, 11th mark, and for a team that's just got promoted, that's an excellent season. So yeah, for me, it's all about your strength in depth, and you've probably, for me, if we'd done a pod on ranking the managers, your fella Luke Garrett would probably be right towards the top of that. I know, obviously, he was the manager when you went down, but the fact he's got you back up, obviously, with the slight managerial change for a few months in the dugout with Ross Jenkins coming in, but nothing too major in the end. He came back, steadied the ship, almost had a extended holiday, effectively, more than anything. Came back,
Yeah,
hit the ground
basically, yeah,
running,
that's pretty much.
got you guys back up, and for me, he's tactically one of the best managers in this league. So with him at the helm, I think you'll go really far this year and finish it good. I'm going to go top half.
Okay, well, I'm going to go playoffs because I'm confident now that we're going
You've got to be. You're a
get there
fan.
at some
Always
point.
back.
Yeah,
Always back your boys.
absolutely.
That doesn't always work, Craig, does it? Being confident as a fan, given my predictions. But just quickly on what Craig said there, Brett, I was impressed when you came up here as well. I thought you could sense that we were struggling from crosses into the box, set pieces. So in the last 10, 15 minutes, you just were launching balls in the box, like mastering the confusion that we were having at the back. Got you 2 goals, even could have nicked it at the end. And I echo what Craig says. I think definitely one of the best managers in the league. He just knows when to adapt. And, we talk a lot about
adaptability.
yeah,
For
we
me.
talk about managers and the way they play, and there's a lot being made of like styles of play these days. But the one thing that managers have to have, in my opinion, is adaptability and be able to change to whatever the situation is. Like Craig said, whether it's 11 against 10, whether it's a weakness you've noticed, like at Brunton Park, and you have that in spades. So massive credit to the manager for that. And like I say, it's a fact that obviously for you as well that you're now saying, "Oh, we can do the playoffs." And that's testament to the manager as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think with him, I think obviously having taken the sort of 5 or 6 months out of the game, obviously when he lost his job after he went down, I just sense he's come back with sort of he's come back sort of with a different, I wouldn't say different mentality, but he's come back he's come back like he's had a break, I think he needed that break. Well, he might not have known at the time, but he's come back sort of, and he's basically taken the club by the scruff of the neck. And it's been a year now since he's been back, a year on Friday, I think it is going to be, or whatever. And what he's done has been incredible, sort of getting us up. And it was difficult getting promoted from the south. when you've only got 2 teams going up like you have in the sort of National League. And it was hard. And there's a lot of good teams at that level. And we sort of just managed to scrape out of it, really.
Yeah, so that links us on quite nicely to obviously the next part we were going to talk about, which was, if you wouldn't mind recapping last season, obviously a tricky start. You've just mentioned it was this time last year that Jenkins was moved on and Garrett come back.
Yeah.
How were your initial thoughts going into last season? Was it, we're going to bounce back straight away, or did you know how hard the National League South was going to be? And then obviously talk about your success towards the end of the season as well.
I had no idea it was going to be that hard. Actually, I thought that we'd go up. I thought that we'd win the league. I thought that we were good enough. We had a good enough squad to go up automatically. That was my initial thought at the beginning of the season. What I hadn't factored in, the sort of National League South is 10 times better than it was when we were last in it 10 years ago. You've got a lot of full-time teams in there now. I think probably sort of 7 or 8 of the teams are full-time, and they're just really good. I think maybe we started off underestimating that league a little bit. I think as I said earlier, I think this time last year we played 8 games and we were 10th, and that's obviously when they made the change. So I just think it was going into the season, probably accepting that, having a bit more respect for the sort of level that we were at, and then sort of working our way from there. But even throughout the season, we never really looked comfortable until towards the end of it. I actually thought that we might miss out on promotion. We were always around the playoffs after Luke Gower came back, but he had a change of sort of system in our last sort of 8 games. So basically, sort of we won all our last 8 games, including the 3 playoff games. So that was due to a slight sort of tweaking of the system, and everyone just bought into it. And we were sort of beating teams. We were scoring goals sort of left, right, and centre. We were thoroughly entertaining, and that's sort of what we've taken into this season, I think.
Yeah, momentum's a really strong thing, isn't it? Like you said, you
Especially
ended
in the
last
playoffs,
season on absolute fire, and you've kind of just gone, right, let's crack on with it this season as well, going into this season. But going back to obviously the playoffs last season, I like probably many of our viewers occasionally watch a bunch of amateurs online, which obviously follows Dorking
Yeah.
quite closely.
Yeah.
They were obviously leading you guys in I believe it was the Eliminator at your place.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they had the man sent off, and watching him in the changing rooms with their cameras, I was actually a bit heartbroken for the bloke, because it must have been horrible hearing them goals going against you. But do you think, obviously head or heart, whichever way you decide to go here, do you think without that man getting sent off, you'd be sitting here right now as a National League team, or do you think that game was almost
No. I think that we were second best. I mean, I've spoken just before about me. I'm not going to slightly contradict what I just said. I said that we were brilliant for the last 8 games, but we certainly weren't against Dorking. I think that we were second best for most of that. The sending off helped, obviously, but we just came into it in the end. Even after the sending off, they scored again and made it 3-1. So literally, we had 8 minutes left of sort of normal time, and we had to get 2 goals from somewhere at least. And we obviously ended up getting 2 in the 90 minutes, and the other one in stoppage time. But no, I thought that if it wasn't for that sending off, I don't think I would be here now. No, not as a National League club, because we were out as far as I was concerned. I didn't think we were going to come back at 3-1. And it's amazing that we did, and it was and I think that galvanised everyone actually. That game and that the circumstances of us winning that, the sort of 96-minute winner, I think galvanised everyone. And I think from then that we were the only team that were ever going to go up after that. We also went to Torquay on the Saturday and sort of thrashed them. It was 1-0, but we really did. We really were the better team.
Yeah, I think with like late winners and stuff as well, we talked about momentum being key and things like that. I think late winners, it installs in everyone's mind, whether that's the players, fans, manager, whoever, like this is going to happen. It's destined to happen, when you get them, red cards, last minute winners, things like that. And I think that was what kind of spurred you on. And I agree. I think because a lot of people did think Dorking were going to go up, but you guys obviously beat
Yeah, I
them.
thought they might do. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I
I
think
did.
Dorking were the best team I saw last year. I think they were the best team I saw last year. They're the best team we played in terms of sort of they beat us they beat us a few weeks earlier at home as well, and again they were a better team.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I've noticed though is obviously you guys came up via the playoffs and Truro won the league.
Yeah,
And I've watched Truro so far, and it just no offense to Truro, but I've been really impressed with you guys and slightly disappointed from what I've seen from Truro, and I think that shows the depth in the league that you guys came up finishing lower than them, but actually these are potentially a better side than them, and I think for me that's one thing that stood out to me this season, like Scunthorpe coming up as well, teams like that where
yeah. I mean,
they're
Scunthorpe
really
were in the
coming up.
playoffs, weren't they? Yeah,
Yeah, coming up and they're just thriving straight away, and I think that
Yeah,
shows the strength in depth of the league, and there's so many good
absolutely.
teams.
The four
Uh,
teams that got promoted last season all stayed up as well. The last season,
yeah,
so Braintree and Yeovil from the south,
of course.
and Tamworth and Boston from the north all stayed up. So it shows that tier six, as you call it, I believe, obviously step one football and step two,
Yeah,
they're not actually too different. Like you said, the north, the south especially now, you almost argue 50% of the teams are full time. The
yeah, near
the
enough. I
way
think more
the
have
way that
become
season
full
finished
time now.
last year was incredible, and some very very big sides in there.
Well, I mean, last season, I don't know if you remember, but the sort of last day of the season, we were sort of fifth or sixth, and any one of us could have won the league because there were 3 points between us. As it happens, Truro were 3 points ahead, and they had a better goal difference than Torquay, so they ended up
Yeah,
winning it. But
they were
it's
3
just
up at the
incredible.
9 minutes, weren't they? We were talking to Ian about this,
Yeah,
and we said it was after all the build up, it was a little bit of an anticlimax in the end.
yeah, I suppose so. I mean, I don't think there's a better way to go up than sort of winning the playoff final. Yeah, personally,
Yeah,
because we've gone up because we've sort of gone up 3 times sort of since I've been watching us in the playoffs, and we've lost out in the playoffs as well. But we've gone up 3 times, and I don't think there's anything better.
no. I was on the pitch when Braintree beat
And,
Worthing in the playoff final away, and like you said, that's probably,
yeah, of course,
if you ask me, my best day in football. That would probably be it. Win the league,
that
you've
was
kind
one
of
of the
built it up over weeks and weeks and
yeah
weeks. You know it's coming.
that was one of the best non-league games I've ever seen. That
It was incredible, wasn't
your
it?
game against Worthing, it was brilliant. It was just brilliant end to end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree about playoffs. I know with Carlisle over the years, we've had some good moments, but we've also had some sad moments. It's like obviously cup finals, isn't it? They're great to win, but they're horrible to lose as well. So
Of
I
course,
know we lost on penalties to Leeds when we were in League One, which was absolutely devastating. But we also won the playoff final on penalties against Stockport, which I think penalties is a similar situation where if you win on penalties, it's the best feeling, but if you lose on penalties, it's the worst. But no, I think it's when you're going up and winning the league, Truro, I think that there's a bit of pressure on them because people look and go, they won the league, they should be the best of what's came up. And actually, you guys,
no.
to me, are the best. Using Scunthorpe are the best I've seen from coming up. You look really impressive.
I mean, ironically, sort of when we played Truro a couple of weeks ago, I thought that still they were the better team. You know, I think that's the only game we've played this season where the opposition has been the better team. That's my opinion. And sort of we only scored the winner sort of 92 minutes, I think it was. So
Mm,
it was touch and go. And we had one chance in the first half and scored, and they pretty much dominated. So they were unlucky, but they can't be
yeah.
unlucky all season. They've got to turn it round, of course. And I think a lot of people have said that in previous games that they've lost by the odd goal and all that.
Yeah, I think they play some good stuff. And they were at Brunton Park last
Yeah,
week. We beat them 3-0. It probably could have been more, but they did initially before we
yeah,
took the lead. They played some good stuff. They know what to do. The man up front, they know what they're doing. They know when to run off. They know when to hold the ball. I think at home that'll be a totally different prospect. I think their home form's massive. I think I said that to
yeah.
my mates because we were like, "Oh, that was like quite a comfortable win." And I said, "I guarantee you, when we go there, it'll be a totally different story. It'll be a totally different game." And I think like any team really in any league, but home form's massive for teams, especially coming up like yourselves as well. I think you'll back yourself probably to beat most teams at home. I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, the thing is, the only game that we've actually sort of lost this season has been at home, and that was against Rochdale on the opening day. So
It's no shame losing to Rochdale, though. They are an outstanding
Absolutely
team.
not.
But yeah, so that'll be it for Boreham Wood for now. We're going to quickly go over York 4, Tamworth 0 last night. I watched the majority of the game. Obviously, Tamworth held out pretty well. Jazz singing goal, made some saves. Half time 0-0. It looked like they might be holding on a little bit, but York come out second half and just absolutely bossed it. Like, I was probably one of the best performances I've seen in the National League this season. I did say last night they've kind of laid a marker down for me. I was a bit concerned for them because they had a bit of a break because the Women's Rugby World Cup was getting played at their ground, and I thought, I wonder how they'll come back knowing they've got like 3 games to catch up on and things like that. But obviously they won at Yeovil at the weekend and then won last night comfortably. But it'd be remiss of me to not mention Alex Hunt, the absolute screamers that he scored. But just the whole outfit for me looks obviously different setup under the new manager. But again, there's been so much stuff going on off the field that it was hard to see how they were going to adapt and things like that. But really impressive. Tamworth, I think they'll look at that and go, not many teams will go to York and get something this season. So I don't think they'll necessarily be too disappointed. They're still sat in 11th place in the league, which a few people have predicted them to struggle. So if you'd offered them 11th after 8 games, I'm sure they would have snatched your hand off. So I think for me, again, it was something that more York than Tamworth. York just really impressed me. I think York probably the team to beat up there with Carlisle, Forest Green, Southend, Rochdale. I think they're up there. Craig, how did you see the game, mate?
Yeah, so I don't like the term free hit, but Tamworth won away at us last week, so we won't dwell on that one. And then winning at Eastleigh on Saturday, at home to Eastleigh, they'd picked up 6 points already in the last 7 days. So as free hits go, going to York on a Tuesday night, they've probably got lower expectations and maybe not expecting to get anything. But as you said, they were banging the game until a lovely goal from Alex Hunt, and then second half York really seemed to kick on. Their new formation under their new manager worked extremely well. Seemed to give the wing backs effectively lots of freedom to go forward, which ultimately then probably created these spaces for these wonder goals to happen as well. I thought they were really impressive second half, and yeah, long may it continue for them after a slow start, but the break and making a managerial change right at the start of the break seemed to give him 10 days with his team to get everything right, to get his philosophy across, and it seems to have played wonders there. But for me, hopefully they lose at the weekend because they're coming to Braintree. So let's hope that revolution stops this weekend, but I'm not expecting it to. They've been very good. But yeah, Tamworth, free hit for them, and they'll be looking obviously to build again from the 2 previous good results. But for them, 4-0 can be damaging, but write it off, go again on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we'll come to our predictions very soon. But obviously York at Braintree. I think if I'm right, Tamworth are at Sutton. So, and Sutton have struggled to start the season. So Tamworth might be looking at that game and thinking, we can bounce back there. Brett, how did you see the York game, mate?
Well, I just think that York seem to have obviously. I mean, it sounds like their sort of managerial change has sort of really, has really helped them. I think sort of Stuart Maynard plays a good standard of football. He plays good football. I mean, he likes his teams to attack. I'm still not quite sure why they made the change. Bear in mind what Hinch would have done last season and the points tally and everything like that. But I suppose they've got their reasons. But I think sort of Maynard's a good manager. They play some good stuff. You would expect them to win. Yeah, and it seems like that. I mean, it seems like it took them a while to get going last night, didn't it? But so once they did, they just sort of opened up the avalanche, really, didn't they?
Yeah, I think once I got the first goal, and then they scored pretty quickly after through Newby as well, and then it was 2-0. And I remember I had 2-0 on my predictions, and Craig put it in the group chat saying 2-0. I was like, yeah, there's a long way to go in this yet. there's too much time left. They're definitely going to get some more, and obviously they did. And yeah, I think York for me again, they'll be a team that's going to be up there, and a lot of them at
And
the
it
start of
seems
the
like
season said they're going to win the league. Sorry, mate. Go on.
So I was saying, it seems like York seem to have spent the last couple of years sort of signing the sort of best of the National League players. You know, they've got sort of obviously Ollie Banks now and sort of Alex Newby, people like that. So they've obviously buy a lot of good players at this level. You know, that have got experience at this level. And I think that's really helped because obviously 2 seasons ago, sort of when we went down, we really went down sort of by a point, and sort of York City were the team above us. So they were a team that survived on the last day. And they went from that to like a huge points total last year and second, and now they look very good again, and they've sort of reinvested. So yeah, I mean it's good what they're doing there. You know, you expect them to be there or thereabouts, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's important, especially in non-league, that you get players that have played at this level. I remember when we came down last season, the start of this season. I remember in the summer saying we need to sign players that have played in this league because it will chew you up and spit you back out if you're a big time Charlie thinking that you're just gonna come in and just walk the league and things like that. And luckily for us, Carlisle did do that by signing Regan Linney, people like that. So but I think this league can be extremely tough, especially if you think you come into it thinking you're just going to walk the league, and there's a lot of teams with a lot of experienced and competitive players that play good football as well and will catch you out. And I think even Carlisle, to an extent, so far this season, have been caught out by certain teams, and I think it will happen to teams that do come down because the standard's so high. So yeah, so obviously we've got predictions. Craig, I'll come to you, mate. You're the king of the predictions at the moment. So what's the scores on the doors for now?
No problem at all. So the last game week we had was obviously the weekend. It was our highest scoring game week. Um, the guest, which was Ryan from Scunthorpe, got 26 points. I also got 26 points, so we drew at the top. But the official deck rulebook states that win goes to the guest as they are a guest of the pod. So I've given him the round win for this week. Dan, you scored 19 points and Mark scored 20. But what impressed me the most was the fact that myself and Ryan predicted 10 results correctly, effectively 8 results and 2 perfect scores. So only 2 results we called in the wrong direction. You got 8 out of 12 in that, 7 correct and 1 perfect, and Mark got 7, 5 correct and 2 perfect. So lots of pressure on us this week to keep it up, and lots of pressure on Brett here because the guests are
I
currently
was going to
13
say
points
that. Yeah, it
clear at the
sounds.
top. They are on 129.
It's not a
Guests
good
are on,
look for us, guys. It's not a good
no.
look for us. It's not a good
So the
look.
guests are on 129. I'm on 116.
I
I've
mean, it
gone
puts
back
all the
above
pressure
Dan
on me,
just.
doesn't it? Yeah.
Dan's on 113 and Mark's on 91. So yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, so like I said, it's just a bit of fun, really. But it's not a good look for us hosts of the podcast when the guests keep coming on and winning every week. So, Brett, if you want to just throw these results out there this week and not give it much thought at all, I'd totally get behind that decision.
They've won 4
Make
out of
us
8.
try and yeah, if you want to,
No,
get them all
no,
wrong,
I'll give it all some
feel
serious
free.
thought. Don't worry. I'll get it right. Don't
I
worry.
know,
I've
you
got,
won't
I've
take
got
it
Mark's
lightly, mate.
predictions with me as well, guys. So I'll let you.
Yeah,
I'll let you tell them.
so when we come to you, Craig, you can tell us marks as well. So obviously, first up, we've got Yeovil Woking, which is the early kickoff. I've gone for 1-1. I think Woking have turned things round after a bit of a slow start. Yeovil still, manager issues, so they haven't obviously announced anybody. I think it'll be a draw. Craig, what's yours and marks?
Yeah, starters women to go on, shall we, Dan? By copying each other again. I've gone 1-1 and Mark's gone 0-0.
0-0. The rogue 0-0's out again from Mark. Brett, what have you got for this game, mate?
And I'm going for 2-1 to Woking. I'll sort of be a little bit different. I just think the form they're in, they've shown a lot of better form now, and I think that might tell in the end. Yeovil haven't quite got going, have they? So.
Yeah, to be honest, I was close to doing a walk. If Woking were at home, I probably would have done that. So, yeah, I can see why, mate. Obviously, next we've got Boreham Wood, Altrincham. Makes sense, Brett. What's your predictions for this game? Even though I can kind of guess.
Tough one. Well, I'm going to go for home win. That might not surprise you. But I'll go 2-1 Boreham Wood. I mean, it's going to be tough. Altrincham are a good side. They seem to have got their act together as well in the last. I think they've won the last 2. obviously started off a bit slow, but I think they sort of lost a few players in the summer, didn't they? A few key players. So yeah, I'm going 2-1 Boreham Wood. We'll keep a
Yeah,
good run going.
I've got 2-1 Boreham Wood as well. Again, Altrincham do seem to have, got used to life without Newby and Linney, and seem to be picking up results here and there. But I just think Boreham Wood will have too much at home for them. Craig, what's yours and Mark's?
Mine is also 2-1 Boreham Wood. And Mark has gone 2-0 Boreham Wood.
I think
at least
that would
someone's
be
a bit different. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've had one yet, have we? Where all four of us have gone for the same result,
No, we've
like
had
the
a couple of
exact
3 out
score.
of 4s, haven't we? We've had a couple of 3 out of
Yeah.
4s.
I mean, we might get it this week. I've got a feeling there's some here that we might get. So, Braintree versus York next. Craig, I'll come to you first. What you got for this one, mate?
I've got a 2-1 away win to 2-1 to York. I hate myself for it, but after watching them yesterday and seeing our injury
Controversial.
crisis and how we're struggling a little bit at the moment, I can't see anything other than a York win. But the pitch won't suit them. It won't suit the way they want to play. So it wouldn't surprise me if we managed to get something, no. But I do think that York will win this one 2-1. And Mark's got 3-1 to York.
Yeah. Brett, what have you got for this one?
Yeah, I'm going 2-0 York. Sorry, Greg. Yeah.
No problem, mate. Won't hold it against you.
Yeah, I've got 2-0 York as well. He'll hold it against me though, Brett, probably.
Absolutely, I will.
Next, we've got Carlisle Aldershot. I mean, so my running theme the last few weeks has been I've been picking us to lose because I picked us to win one week and we lost to Sutton, and the other weeks I've been picking us to lose and we win. But I've been getting a bit of flack for it on social media. People calling me, all kinds. So I'm going to go against it this week, and I'm going 3-2 Carlisle. And if Carlisle lose, it's on you people that were commenting nasty things to me on social media. Well done. So there we go, 3-2 Carlisle. Blame yourselves. Blame yourselves. The fun stopped. Brett, what have you got for this one, mate?
3-1 Carlisle.
Craig?
I've gone exactly the same as Brett, 3-1 Carlisle. And we've talked about Aldershot being value for money. Mark's gone 2-2.
Yeah, I think the one thing we've got in theme there is goals. There's got to be goals. There has to be. It's Aldershot. Has to be. They're just absolute box office when they play. They've got to be. I'm looking forward to this one on Saturday. I was telling my mate about it. I go to the games with, and that I was saying to him, I was like, honestly, Saturday's going to be an absolute banger. And I said, but I'm going to build it up, and it'll probably be 0-0. But next we've got
It's a shame
Forest
it's not on
Green.
TV, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I said to him, I was like, I probably bigged it up, and then it's probably going to be a boring 0-0, and you'd be like, "What were you on about, Dan?" So yeah, but next we've got Forest Green, Scunthorpe. I'll go first, just so it doesn't look like I'm copying people's results. I've got 2-1 Forest Green, but I'm expecting very, I'm expecting a very close game because I think both sides are good sides. It wouldn't surprise me if there's a result either side of it as well, but I think Forest Green might just edge it. I'm going to come to Craig, but judging by his reaction, I think I know what his result's going to be. Craig?
I've gone 2-1 Forest Green, Dan.
Have you? I never guessed.
And
What about
Mark has
Mark?
gone 2-1 Scunthorpe.
Wow.
Brett, what have you got for this one?
I've gone sort of 1-0 Forest Green.
Yeah, I
The
think
form
tight
they're in.
game.
Yeah.
Tight, and they just seem
Home
to be
as well.
finding a way to win Forest Green as well. We did get a comment on, I think it was the last one we did, maybe not, was it the KCPT one, where there was someone saying that we don't talk about Forest Green enough. So we're talking a little bit about you here. Obviously, we're impressed. You've started really well. You're grinding out wins when you're not like you are playing well as well, but you're maybe not taking all your chances. But you're scraping games 1-0 and you're still doing it. That's a sign of a good team. So massive credit to them, and I think they'll just edge that. Hartlepool, Brackley next. Brett, I'll come to you first, mate. What have you got for this one?
I'm going 3-0 to Hartlepool.
Yeah.
Well,
Craig?
we've got a bit too much quality.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
so me
Craig?
and Mark have agreed on this one. We've both gone 2-0. And so's Dan by the looks of it.
Yeah, I've got 2-0 Hartlepool as well. More so because Hartlepool don't concede many. It was a matter of
Exactly, yeah.
whether it was going to be 2 or 3-0 for me, but I did go 2-0. So I won't change it on the fly. I'll go with it just to wind Craig up more than anything. Because he knows if I do it, I won't get it right. So next, we've got Solihull Moors against Morecambe. Craig, what have you and Mark got for this one?
We've both gone home wins. I've gone 2-1 Solihull, and he's gone 3-1 Solihull. Morecambe again, judge them at the end of October, and they're not ready yet. They're not ready.
Yeah, I agree. Brett, what about you, mate?
Yeah, I agree there. I'm going to go home win 2-1.
Yeah,
So,
unanimous.
even you
I've gone
both.
one. I've gone 1-0 Solihull Moors. I think again Morecambe. They've had so much off the field issues. The manager wants to play a certain way. They've got loads of new players. It's going to take time that they maybe don't even have. But he's going to be patient. And like Craig says, he said judge him at the end of October. So I'm expecting them to lose a few more between now and then. So 1-0 Solihull for me. Next, we've got Southend versus Boston. I'll go first for this one. Southend 3-1 for me. Boston have had a bit of a poor start. Southend at home. Craig's got the same as me. It's because we spend so much time together these days, Craig. We're on the same wavelength. That's what it is. But yeah, I've gone Southend 3-1. I think them at home will have too much in the final third for Boston. Craig, I'll come to you even though I've spoilt it. But what have you got for this one?
I've gone 3-1 Southend, and Mark's gone 3-0 Southend.
Brett, what have you got?
Oh, I've gone 2-0 Southend.
Yeah,
Obviously, a lot of faith in
again,
Boston amongst us.
I just think they've had a really shaky start considering how they ended last season. I think, again, they might turn it round and go on a mad run again. They might, but I think Southend's probably one of them places that you're probably not going to start one of them runs, I would say. Next, we've got Sutton versus Tamworth. Sutton, again, poor start. The only win they've had this season, shockingly, was against Carlisle. But yeah, Tamworth, again, back-to-back wins, went to York, got turned over, but I think they'll look at this one as somewhere where they could probably get a result. Craig, what have you got for this one, mate?
Me and Mark have both got the same on this one. 1-1 draw. You haven't.
I have. I've got 1-1 as well. Believe me.
I've got
I've only
1-1
done
as
earlier, so I
well.
can't change. I can't change it now, but yeah, otherwise I would have done.
No, that's it. I want to change it now, but I don't.
Yeah.
But I don't want to because then it ruins the integrity of my predictions. I've done these.
Is
I've
that
done these predictions this
full house
morning.
of 1-1s?
Yeah, it's the first time ever, isn't it? I think full house.
Wow.
So we know that isn't happening. There's no way we're all going to be right 1-1. No way. Next, next we've got Truro Rochdale. Brett, I'll come to you first, mate. What have you got for this one?
Yeah, I'm going 2-0 Rochdale. I just think they've got a bit too much quality.
Yeah, I mean, I know I said Truro's home form's massive and they are a different prospect at home. I just think Rochdale will have too much quality for Truro, but I think it'll be tight. I've gone 2-1 Rochdale. Craig?
Yeah, Mark agrees with you. Danny's gone 2-1 Rochdale. I've kind of gone in the same mould, but I think Rochdale will score again later on. 3-1 Rochdale.
We're pretty unanimous this week. I feel like we're not going to make up much ground on each other.
Disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right for you, Craig, because you're ahead of me and Mark, but me and Mark aren't going to make much ground
Yeah,
on you.
you say that. On the next game, me and Mark have got different teams winning.
Oh, let's have a look then. So we've got Wealdstone versus Gateshead next. Brett, what have you got for this one, mate?
2-1 Wealdstone.
Yeah, I've got 2-0
Their
Wealdstone.
home form's good.
Yeah, home form again, massive. Gateshead 5-0 against Woking, not good. I think there's a few warning signs there that they're maybe going to struggle a little bit. See how they bounce back. Craig?
Yeah, I've agreed with Brett. I've gone 2-1 Wealdstone, and Mark has gone 1-0 Gateshead. I think he's not best pleased with Wealdstone's antics this week, shall we say?
Understandable. Again, Gateshead could go there and win easily. You know, they went to Yeovil and won and things like that, didn't they? So yeah, and then the late kickoff
True.
is Halifax versus Eastleigh, and to be honest, out of all of them, this was the one I struggled with because they've both kind of been really mixed, a real mixed bag to start. I think we start the season we said about Eastleigh, you know, they signed well, they could be up there. Halifax were obviously there or thereabouts last season. Again, it's just been a bit of a mix. So I've firmly sat on the fence with this one, and I've just gone for 1-1. Craig was worried there. I think he thought I was going to maybe say another scoreline, which I did contemplate. Craig, what have you got for this one, mate?
Yeah, me and Mark have both gone exactly the same on this one. We've gone for a Desmond 2-2.
Yeah, I thought you might. Brett?
I'm going for 0-0.
I don't know. Again, like I say, I don't know. Just both teams don't really. There's nothing about them that I've seen so far that tells me they're going to go out there and comfortably win. So I thought the best thing to do is just sit on that fence and
Yeah,
get some
that is the
splinters.
game. That is the game of the weekend for me, where you could easily have arguments for both teams winning. You could easily have arguments for both teams losing. So sit
Yeah.
on the fence.
Yeah, it's a shame it's on telly, really, isn't it? It's a shame that that's the
Yeah.
pick. But I suppose they have to get everyone on, don't they? So.
Yeah, they've kind of got to
They're
fill the
even doing
quota and
Braintree
get
in a couple
everybody
of
on.
weeks.
But yeah, I mean, the one I'm looking forward to is Carlisle Aldershot. And again, it's not because of Carlisle, it's more because of Aldershot. I've been saying all season value for money, so I'm actually going to see it firsthand on Saturday. And you just know it's going to be 0-0 after I've bigged it up all through the season so far. But yeah, that's our predictions, anyways. Like Craig says, the guests to top, Craig's second, I'm third, Mark's fourth. But Mark is closing that gap. I'm just trying to finish higher than Craig. The guests are kind of showing us up at the moment, so we'll see how Brett gets on this week. But you can follow all of our predictions and everything on our social media. Callum does all the social media. You know,
Vote on
if there's
Team of the
any.
Week nominations. Don't moan about your player not being in the Team of the Week nominations if you don't vote for them or nominate them.
Exactly. You know, if you guys don't put the names in, how are we meant to pick them? You know, it's that kind of thing. So, but we'll always get one or two here and there. But yeah, Callum does great work on the social medias. If anyone's, you know, from fans of any clubs want to come on the podcast, message the podcast, message Callum, and we'll see if we can sort something out. But like I say, from me, thanks to Brett, thank you, mate, for coming on tonight and obviously talking through
Thanks, guys.
Boreham Wood. And wish you all the best for the rest of the season. Thank you, Craig, as always, for joining us. Mark will hopefully be back. Hashtag no Mark, no party for next week. Hopefully he'll be back. And he'll have a few views and opinions to share with us next week. But that's it from us. Thanks everyone for watching as
Tune in for a
always.
4.5 hour special when Mark's back.
We'll just do a 4-hour rant from Mark from minute one till the end. And me and Craig will just sit with boxes of popcorn and just watch that. But yeah, no. So thanks everyone as always for watching and commenting and getting involved. We appreciate every single one of you. Our target for September, get the end of September, we want to get 500 subscribers. I think we're on 426 last time I looked. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. It means the world to us. But yeah, till next time, take care and we'll see you soon.
All right, thanks.